Sports presents the best of the National Football League, the American Football Conference. Today, from Cleveland Stadium, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cleveland Browns. Today's game is brought to you by Plymouth, who invite you to drive the front-wheel drive Plymouth Reliant K, the American way to beat the pump. By Budweiser, for all you do, this Bud's for you. By Ryder Truck Rental, the best truck money can rent or lease. And by Merrill Lynch, imagination, instinct, and versatility. Merrill Lynch, a breed apart. Cleveland Stadium sold out, over 81,000. The Steelers and the Browns atop the AFC Central, along with Houston, all at 4-3. Steelers have won the toss, and they'll be receiving. The Browns ready to kick the ball off, and back to receive it is Frank Pollard, a rookie from Baylor. A high spinner taken at the goal line. Here comes Pollard behind the wedge. He's to the 10 to the 15 and spins out to the 20-yard line. Good quick hit on special teams plays. Dino Hall was down there to make the hit, and here is the quarterback and the alignment in the backfield for the Steelers. Cliff Stoudt starts in place of Terry Bradshaw. Greg Hawthorne, second-year player from Baylor, starts as one runner. Russell Davis from Michigan is the other. The wide receivers, in the absence of two All-Pros, are still good people in there. T-Bell and Jim Smith, the wideouts. Randy Grossman, a good pass-catching tight end, and a much underrated blocker. It's 1st and 10 for the Steelers. First place is they go to the run, and there's nothing there as the Cleveland defensive front, which has been getting tougher and tougher as the season wears on. Stops it cold. There's Cliff Stoudt. He comes from Oberlin, Ohio, 40 miles away from Cleveland. And there's his blockers, John Kolb, an All-Pro. Ray Penny starts at left guard. They've got injuries up front. Rex is the All-Pro center. Tyrone McGriff, the right guard, was the last player selected in the last draft, 333. He was the anchor man, but he's starting for the Steelers because of injury. Larry Brown's the right tackle. It's 2nd down now and 9, and before the ball is snapped, a couple of Browns leave early. That's Robert Jackson, 56, one of the inside linebackers. Very aggressive player. We'll see if he's drawn off, John.
He was drawn off because McGriff pulled. He got into it. Looked like a pass play because it looked as if 61 started to get into his pass blocking position a little early.
Take a look now quickly at the Cleveland Brown defense. They got some young people. They're playing well. Marshall Harris, the left end. They really like Henry Bradley, the nose tackle. He was driving a truck here in Cleveland a year ago. Came in as a free agent, made the football team. Lyle Alzado, twice an All-Pro at Denver. The right end, he's having a good year. Good aggressive linebackers in Charlie Hall, Robert Jackson, Dick Ambrose, and Clay Matthews. So now it's 2nd down and 14 after the assessment against the Steelers. A weird-looking play, almost in slow motion. Nothing happened, and another penalty marker goes down.
Well, Don, what we may have an opportunity to see is just how important Terry Bradshaw has been to this group. Remember, 5 or 6 of his offensive stars were down. He still carried the offensive load, stuck 34 points on the board last week. He's not expected to play. I don't think they're even going to try to do the same things with Cliff Stoudt. They're going to put the burden on their defense.
There are the defensive backs for the Cleveland Browns. Ron Bolton and Clinton Burrell at the corners. Tom Darden, an All-Pro from Michigan, at one safety. Clarence Scott is the other. So the Steelers misfiring, offensive misalignment. And now we have 3rd down and 13 coming up when the Steelers break the huddle. Pittsburgh coming into the game after consecutive losses at home. The Steelers, the defending world champions, are they really on the ropes? Is this team slipping? They've not sacked the passer with any regularity. That's been the difference. Bradshaw there's having a great year, although he'll not have one today. First time in 63 games he's not started for the Steelers. Stoudt dropping back, stands in, takes a look. He's got a man open, goes in high to Kelvin Sweeney, and the ball is broken up. Ron Bolton was on the play. The free safety, Darden, came over. So the Browns hold on the Steelers' first possession, and now Cleveland will get it for a first time on a punt.
Don, they're putting an awful lot of pressure on Cliff Stoudt. I almost get the feeling that they're taking the same philosophy toward this game that Philadelphia took when they played the first game of the series. They got by starting Walk as the pitcher. Bradshaw wants to play in this ball game. The doctor said it's not advisable. It might be something that'll linger with him all year. One good whack on his thumb and jam it for the year. So he may be in there, but Stout's a good athlete. They're going to give him a go at it.
Colquitt punched the ball not very far. Right field's a fair catch at the 47-yard line of the Steelers. And so the Cleveland Browns on their first possession, John, come out with an excellent field position. A punt of only 32 yards by Colquitt. And here's the guy that makes it go, Brian Sipe, having a great year. 12 touchdown passes, only 4 interceptions. The Pruitts, they're not related, will be the starting runners. Big Mike from Purdue and Little Greg from Oklahoma. The wide receivers, Logan and Reggie Rucker. And Ozzie Newsome, the Alabama tight end who gained an All-Pro honor last year and made one first team. So the Browns get the ball for the first time, and they have it in good position. No score in the first quarter. 14:01 to play in it. The Steelers and the Cleveland Browns sold out Cleveland Stadium on a cold October day. Pitch back goes to Greg Pruitt. Little answer from Oklahoma takes it inside the 45-yard line and down to the 43. Defensively, the Steelers are hurting also. The front line's all right. Greenwood, Green, Furness, and Banaszak the starters. But there's a missing all-pro at middle linebacker. Dennis Winston's not in there for Jack Lambert. Jack Ham and Robin Cole on the outside. And in the secondary, and Jim Plunkett gave them fits the last game, Ron Johnson and Mel Blunt at the corners, Donnie Shell and Mike Wagner are the safeties. There was a gain of 4 yards on the run by Greg Pruitt, so it's going to be 2nd down and 6 now for Cleveland. Followed the 43-yard line of Pittsburgh, no score in the first quarter. Greg Pruitt. Good defensive play by the All-Pro Jack Ham. Yet the block came in and made the hit at the line of scrimmage. It was actually a loss on the play. Jack Ham. Unanimous All-Pro and unanimous choice for the NFL Team of the Decade. Makes the play.
Don, you're going to have to see a lot of Jack Ham today. You're going to have to see a lot of Joe Green, which you haven't seen as much of in the early part of the season. L.C. Greenwood's going to have to pick up the slack. I'm sure that it's time for Pittsburgh, if they're to be the team they have been over the past 4 or 5 years, they've got to put the burden on their big guys because too many of them are out.
See the year Sipe's having 1,800 yards through 7 games. 3rd down and a long 8 now as Sipe takes the deep drop. There's a blitz. He gets it away and he makes the completion. Melvin Hill comes into the backfield and takes the ball down to the 30. Sipe's one of the best in coming up against the blitz, and he hits Melvin Hill for a 15-yard gain.
Okay, it's not that Pittsburgh blitzes so much, Don. It's that when they do, they don't care if you know it or not because they've been able to execute so well. But so has Brian Sipe over the years. He catches a situation where he can put Calvin Hill right on J.T. Thomas. Little move to the outside, jumps to the inside, and that's one-on-one, nothing but room to run. Sipe just has to lay the ball out in the flat first down.
Jim Garrett, the offensive backfield coach for the Browns, calls Calvin Hill pinch hitter. He says he sits on the bench ratings, then comes in and gives you the home run. Mike Pruitt runs the ball on a 1st and 10 carry from the 30. He advances the ball down close to the 27-yard line. L.C. Greenwood was on the stop, now in his 12th year. 6 times an All-Pro, and there's Mike Pruitt, had the great season last year for the Browns. Over 1,200 yards.
We notice that Greg Pruitt is starting for the first time in several games. He has not carried the ball much in the past few years against the Steelers. He's been antsy to play over the past 4 or 5 weeks. This is not a punitive action against Charles White. It's just that they think Greg Pruitt's ready to go.
They've got a great one waiting to go in, too, in Charles White, the Heisman Trophy winner from SC a year ago. Sipe throwing long. Logan is out there. And the ball is stripped away at the last moment by Mel Blunt. Still one of the fastest cornerbacks in the league now in his 11th year from Southern University, so Sipe almost hits Logan on the payoff.
He's one of the fastest, but he's also one of the biggest and the best. There are very few cornerbacks that could have had their back to the quarterback. The ball was in the air. It was a perfect throw. The receiver had the game beat by a yard. He had to wait just a little bit on it. Blunt found it in the air and batted it away. That's a play that very few cornerbacks can make. Maybe that's why they leave him one-on-one so often.
So now Sipe and the Browns come out with a 3rd down and 9 play at the 28-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's no score with 11:48 to play in the first quarter. Logan to the left. Heath Wright to the right. He's caught 3 balls this year. There's his 4th and loses it. Wright's caught free. It's intercepted now. Taken back by Ron Johnson on a skip off the hands of Keith Wright. Johnson intercept for the Steelers. And takes the ball back to the 25-yard line. So the Cleveland threat is stopped. 18-yard return.
All right, you very seldom see Brian Sipe throw the ball as high as he did. He had a lot of room to hit Keith Wright. It's the sort of turnovers that the Pittsburgh Steelers have been accustomed to making. They haven't been making them early. They get one in this ball game, the biggest ball game of the year.
Is the pump picking your pocket?
The K cars are here!
Front-wheel drive Plymouth Reliant K, the American way to beat the pump. America's highest mileage 6-passenger car.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yet with Reliant's engine and drivetrain directly over the front wheels, Reliant gives you impressive pulling power. Reliant K from Plymouth, the American way to beat the pump.
Now, Zenith System 3 is more. Superb picture. And more. Now, System 3 offers you the PRP circuit. It gives you 25% more picture sharpness. System 3, 25% more sharpness. More detail. Zenith, we're moving television into the future.
Ron Johnson, his first interception of the season, takes the Browns off a challenge and gives the Steelers back to football at their 26-yard line. No score in the first quarter. Don Criqui with John Brody at sold-out Cleveland Stadium. Cliff Stoudt, hands up. They go to the run, and Russell Davis takes the ball straight ahead for very little. The Browns working out of the 3-4 defense. Very quick inside linebackers. Robert Jackson, 56, and Dick Ambrose, 52. They like these young nose guards they have. Bradley, who starts, and Cruz, who comes in behind him, John. And they like Harris, number 90, as a pass rusher. Another first-year player.
Second and 6 from the 29.
The gain of almost 3 as the light rain starts to fall. Temperature in the high 30s. There's a chill factor, though, the wind coming in off the lake. Seas at 7 to 10 feet, crashing over the breakwall outside this stadium. Now, Russell Davis runs the ball ahead for a first down. Russell Davis, whose stock went way up in the East-West Shrine game a couple of years ago when he rushed for 200 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Well, you know what we really saw there, Don, on first down was a 4-yard play that put Cleveland in a bind. They would like to stuff the Steelers on first down so they can get into passing down situations. You can see when they handle Robert Jackson, the defense for Cleveland run-wise is a little bit suspect. They did it on that play. If they continue to do it, they'll have some success.
It's a first down for the Pittsburgh Steelers at their 36-yard line. Back to the run, straight ahead, not too much. Hawthorne, the big back from Baylor, who was drafted in the first round 2 years ago.
Not too much, Don. Look who's in on the tackle. Number 56. And we say, hey, he's such a great player. Let's try to leave him free as often as we can. They try to get their linemen to get a piece of those guards who are coming out to block on Jackson. This time, he and 2 or 3 others are filling the hole. They only get 2.5, 3 yards, and that's not a good play.
Joe Green looking for those Steelers to take the ball on down the field as their offense is out with no score on the board. Second down and 8 coming up now. Penalty markers again. Footing's a little difficult out there. The field has been covered, but there's been a lot of rain. And it's still damp from the rain of a few days ago.
Donnie, the footing's a little difficult, but you don't have to start early. That'll really hurt a drive because Pittsburgh's going to try and play ball control. We mentioned that earlier, and it's the wise thing to do. I think if anybody knows how to control a group of men, it's got to be Chuck Noll. He gets them ready to play every week. Right now, he is really put up against the wall. This is a team that's been dominated by great stars, more than any team I've ever seen in football, possibly 12 or 13 in the past 4 or 5 years. 6 or 7 of them are out. He's really got to put the burden on playing it a little bit tight to the vest, hoping Joe Green, L.C. Greenwood, the guys...
Illegal motion, 45 offense, second down.
The guys he's counted on in the past, Don, have got to come up with a real big game now.
News Center 3, Action News from WKYC, and their helicopter high above Cleveland Stadium. You see that break wall out there? Say it. Large craft warnings are up out there today. Wind is coming in off the lake. The Steelers now, second down and 12. Rocky Bleier in the game, and he takes the ball straight ahead. He's not done yet till he gets across the 40. Blyer got ahead for 7 yards. Gets the ball out to the 41-yard line. Lyle Alzado, 77, was on the play. Don Good, a linebacker, number 50, also on the stop. Sidney Thornton, who's had limited playing time, John, now in there with Blyer. They're going to use a lot of backs, apparently.
Well, this is the first time he's really been healthy to any degree in the past 4 or 5 weeks. They're going to use a lot of backs. They're going to use anybody they have.
Franco Harris will not play. Alvin Swinning's wide to the right. Stoudt stands in. They give him time. He puts it in the flat, coming back at the ball for the reception at the 49-yard line is Jim Smith. He turned out in a linebacker inside the coverage, and Jim Smith makes a first down reception for the Steelers.
Boy, that's a perfect illustration, Don, of a play that's very well covered. They know where the ball's going. You can see Clay Matthews coming out on the play. Smith goes to the outside. Stoudt throws the perfect pass. Matthews cannot get in on the play. Well covered, better thrown. They pick up a first.
8-yard gain on the play. This guy's come in for a great player, John Starworth, but his numbers are terrific. That's his 28th reception. He's averaging 20 yards a catch this year. He's been in the end zone 8 times. Stoudt on first down. Reloads and hits. T-Bell coming across the middle. Down to the 30-yard line. A 21-yard gain on the play, and the Steelers are moving on the right arm of Stoudt.
Well, you know, when you can get your offensive line to get as much confidence in you as a quarterback as they seem to have, giving him as much time as they did to throw on that occasion. Look, he's back here. He's allowing Theo Bell to go down. He doesn't come to him the first time. He comes all the way back to him, throws the ball 20 yards down the field. They pick up a first, and he had another couple seconds if he needed it.
Yeah, he had time to check the whole field out, so the Steelers drive on. 21-yard gainer, and there goes Tyrone McGriff, leaving early. Steelers very anxious, and it's hurt them. That's their 4th penalty of this game. 7:40 left to play in the first quarter. There's no score on the board. The Steelers with their deepest penetration.
You know, the cadence shifts from player to player, quarterback to quarterback, and offensive linemen get accustomed to hearing the same voice week in and week out, and sometimes the change causes a problem.
Start, 61 offense, first down.
I don't know if that happened in McGriff's case, but I know he better start staying on sides, or he's going to put him in a lot of holes.
Tyrone, not too tall. He's got some weight, 6 feet 265. It's first down and 15 now for Stoudt and the Steelers. No score on the board. They go to the run here. Greg Hawthorne turning the corner. Cleveland's linebackers get out there, but Hawthorne with a change of pace move beats the corner and turns upfield and down to the 31-yard line. So he got back 4 of the lost yards. Stoudt, the Pittsburgh quarterback, was renowned for having played long enough to gain a pension in the NFL without ever having played it down. He and Joe DiMaggio have 56-game streaks intact. Joe hit for 56 straight in 41, and Stoudt suited up for 56 and never played. My streak was easier.
Yeah, but I tell you what, they don't let you suit up for 56 games unless they think you can play.
He can play. He is actually faster than Bradshaw running, but he's not elusive at evading the rush. They go to Hawthorne up the middle, trap blocking by the Steeler front. That Webster just cleaned out the middle. The big center who they call the strongest man in football.
That's the 3rd play in this drive, Don, that Mike Webster has made an excellent block, allowing one of his backs to cut inside on a trap play. Now, when he makes a block, look what he does to Bradley. He absolutely knocks him backwards to the play. The back has nowhere but hole to run in. That's why he's an all-pro. He's got to come up with a big ball game. He seems to have one every week. Never was it more important than today.
The Steelers sustaining offense nicely here. This is the 9th play of this drive. They have 3rd down and a long 3 coming up from the 28-yard line. Stoudt stands in, cocks his arm and drills it to Rocky Blyer. And Blyer's down inside the 20. He has a first down for the Steelers. A 7-yard gain and a first down. New England leading Buffalo on a John Smith field goal from 41 yards out in the first quarter, 3-0. Washington up on winless New Orleans, 3-0. Mosley hit one from 50 yards out for the Skins. There's a couple of big confrontations there in this city this week. Today it's the Steelers and the Browns. Tuesday it's President Carter and Ronald Reagan. They'll debate here in Cleveland. Confrontation of another kind. 1st and 10 now for Pittsburgh. Back to the run. Straight ahead. Driving with the ball is Sidney Thornton. And he takes it down inside the 15-yard line. And down close to the 10.
When you've got defensive ends making the play that's going right over the middle, you know, somebody's doing some work offensively, guard-wise and center-wise. Webster and Penny did a fine job there along with McGriff. They're just pushing people out of the middle.
Boy, they are. Penny's at left guard, McGriff's at right guard, and Webster, the great all-pro tackle. Brooklyn-born Sam Ratigliano, the head coach of the Browns. Looking on, he's 0-4 against the Steelers since he took over at Cleveland. Here is the handoff to Hawthorne. On a 2nd and 4 carry, he gets thrown back for a loss. This time, the Browns were reading run, and the linebackers were coming through. Robert Jackson, a 230-pounder out of Texas A&M, a former #1 draft choice 56, who's made a big difference in the Cleveland defense since they went to the 3-4, and he got a starting job.
Well, he is such a fine open field tackler, Don, and he's such an aggressive player. It's the personality of the Cleveland defense to keep those backs and tackles off of him. If he can get a piece of the runner, he can run people down. He can do his job at any time. Right now, they're in a 5-back situation. It's the first time they've created it in this drive.
The Steelers, who've lost their last 2 games, moving the ball now despite penalties. It's 3rd down and 6. Stoudt stands in. He's going to run the ball. He's got to do something. He gets rid of it in the end zone. Diving for the ball was T-Bell. As Stoudt unloaded just before he was hit hard by Elvis Franks. And there's a penalty marker down in the end zone.
And it was a late one, Don. It came 10 or 15 seconds after the play had ended. I do not know what happened. It could be for roughness, unnecessary of some sort. But look at how much time Stoudt has back there. Finally, he gets a chance to come to T-Bell all the way down in the left corner of the end zone.
Referee Bob Frederick. Oliver Davis was the guilty party, number 21. And so now the Steelers have it point-blank range. 1st and goal at the 1.
And that is what's so good about throwing the ball away. You notice Stoudt did not take any chance. He didn't throw it in the crowd. Had he not thrown the ball, he would not given himself a chance to get a penalty. There was nobody open on the play. He was really throwing it away. But you can knock those receivers down if the ball is never thrown.
Well, it was. The penalty was assessed, and now the Steelers are beneficiaries of the penalty. They've had a lot for misfiring in the offensive line coming up to this drive. And in goes Hawthorne standing up. Greg Hawthorne waltzed down into the end zone, and the first points are on the board as the Steelers take a 6-0 lead.
That, Don, was a very impressive drive, and I think the man most impressive was Cliff Stoudt. He stood in there. He threw the ball to the open receiver. He was given plenty of time, and he seems to be in complete control of his offense. Mike Webster did an excellent job all the way down the field, but look at the size hole. They're on the 1-yard line. They create a 3-yard gap, and Hawthorne could have danced in.
Yeah, Rocky Blyer made a big block also on Robert Jackson, and now the Steelers are on the board after a sustained drive, 75 yards in 12 plays. Following the interception by Ron Johnson to stop the Cleveland drive, Barr with the extra point, it's up and good. And the Cleveland Browns fall behind the Steelers 7-0. So with 4:40 left to play in the first quarter, Pittsburgh looks like world champions driving on into the end zone.
Fellow Americans, don't let anyone tell you that inflation can't be controlled. It can be by making some tough decisions to control federal spending. As president, I'm ready to make those decisions. I'll place an immediate freeze on federal hiring. I'll call in the best minds in America to tell us where waste can be cut. I'll eliminate completely any program that serves the bureaucrats and not the needs of the people.
The time is now for strong leadership. Reagan for president.
Lobo, Texas and Milwaukee, Wisconsin are a whole country apart. But both places mean one thing to these guys, something great. Lobo means the hottest, tastiest chili in Texas, and Milwaukee means beer. Cold, crisp, old Milwaukee beer. And man, you can't have one without the other. Whenever you think of the town of Milwaukee, you think of beer. And old Milwaukee tastes as great as its name.
Boys, it don't get no better than this.
Stumble in New York at Rich Stadium in Buffalo. The Patriots have taken a 3-0 lead over the Bills. John Smith, the NFL's leading scorer, making good from 41 yards out. Pats going for their 6th straight win. The Giants have lost 6 straight, but at the Meadowlands, they are out in front of the Denver Broncos on the strength of a 28-yard field goal, courtesy of Joe Danello. It's 3-0 in the first. Back to Cleveland and Don Crick.
Thank you, Brian. We're set to go now here at Cleveland Stadium. And the Steelers ready to kick the ball off as they've taken a 7-0 lead. Hawthorne going in untouched from a yard out. A 75-yard, 12-play drive. The Steelers made it work despite penalties. A short kickoff. Dino Hall at the 15-yard line. 20. He's to the 30. Out to the 35 and to the 39-yard line. Let's watch the touchdown again, and here it is with Stoudt handing off to Hawthorne.
This just climaxed. It was a perfect exposure of what they did throughout the whole drive. They created 2- and 3-yard holes for their running backs to run in. That's down on the 1-yard line. He runs it in for a 6-0 lead. The extra point was good to go 7. Now Cleveland's got the ball 1st and 10, just short of their own 40-yard line. They better get humming.
They've had good field possession on their 2 possessions. This is their second. Ryan Sipe, the quarterback. Fakes the run. Play fakes to Priutt. Looks long. Now swings out in the flat. And there is Ozzie Newsome coming up with the ball and turning upfield across the 45. He'll step out just short of the 45.
I really think that when you take a look at Pittsburgh's defense, you're going to have to throw on 1st and 10, because when they get you in passing situations, they start doubling your wide receivers. 1st down, they usually go to a very easy coverage, such as a double zone on the wide receivers. You're going to see Sipe throw on 1st down, play action passes, as he does here to Ozzie Newsome, pick up the 7 or 8 that the defense gives you. And he can do it.
Newsome's a good one. Bear Bryant says he's the best we ever had at Alabama catching the ball. Came in as the #1 draft choice. He's fast, can go deep. Here's a running back play now as Mike Priutt runs the ball straight ahead. And Priutt takes it across the 45-yard line out to the 46. Joe Green and Gary Dunn, a couple of tackles around the stop. So is Dirk Winston, the middle linebacker, playing for the injured Jack Lambert, who didn't even make the trip.
That's right. That's why it's so incumbent upon Joe Green to play well. He has got to keep the guards and tackles off of the middle linebacker, Dennis Winston. Now, we all know what a great player Joe Green's been over the years. This time he's got a tough situation. He's on Leon, the center. He stands him up. He really gets a standstill out of the play, but it allows Dennis Winston to come in and make the play.
3rd down and 3 now for Cleveland, the 47-yard line of the Browns. Steelers lead in the first quarter, 7-0. Pitch back goes to Mike Priutt, turns the corner. Penalty marker goes down. He'll get Cleveland on a hold. Greg Pruitt came out and grabbed somebody.
I don't think Pruitt's in agreement with that play.
He was going after Winston and grabbed him.
Well, he got good contact on Winston and really forced him outside for quite a while, allowing Priutt to cut back, and unfortunately, he must have slipped an arm around.
Lynn Swan waiting to get back in the lineup.
Well, he's now stated to be healthy. I don't know how healthy. I mean, healthy enough to play.
At least he's got his goods on. A lot of them, the injured Steelers, aren't even dressed.
You know, that's the amazing thing.
Number 34 during the run.
Listen, when you're 5'10", 188 pounds, you got to
you ought to get a couple holds.
Down 13 from the Cleveland 37.
It's Schottenheimer, the defensive coordinator for the Browns, and he's tied together this defense very well. We have 3:38 left to play in the first quarter. The Steelers lead the game 7-0. They drove 75 yards in 12 plays. Hawthorne on the payoff end. Now the Browns have 3rd down and 13 from their 37.
They get a free play.
White, yep, left early. Swing pass goes to Priutt. There's going to be a whack here. And Priutt eludes the head-on tackle and goes down after a good game. Got back to penalty yardage, but there's also a penalty marker down. It looked like Dwight White left early.
He did. I don't know if he was pulled or not, but it looked like Sipe just put him on a long count, being a little antsy to get in after him.
This is some rivalry. 18 straight years it's been sold out in Cleveland with crowds of over 80,000. Even the year the Steelers were 1-13, the place was packed. There's over 20,000 people here from Pittsburgh. They say it's not an excursion when the Steelers play the Browns here. It's an invasion. They all show up.
You notice when they scored, there was a good cheer.
Defense, number 78, offside.
Franco Harris is out for the Steelers with inflamed knee
Third
ligaments.
down 8 from the Cleveland 42.
Bradshaw has strained knee ligaments, but the thing that's keeping him out today is the bad thumb that he jammed. Brian Sipe with a lot of yards. Looking for more now. Here's a 3rd down and 8 play coming up from the 41 of Cleveland. Sipe has time, drills it. It's slapped up in the air. It was a free football. Looked like L.C. Greenwood might have got a piece of that.
Head down the line of
That's just as good as a sack, Don, when you keep your hands up and you keep the quarterback from being able to get the ball across the middle. And he did have an open receiver across the middle. Credit that one to the defensive line. Joe Green is playing very well early in this ball game. We mentioned the importance of it. When we say he hasn't been playing well, we're talking about by his standards. You know, he's been a great player for so long. He makes a little play. They're playing a lot of games. L.C. Greenwood comes in. Dwight White didn't get his hand on it. It looked to me as if it was Furness.
Here's a weak spot this season. Johnny Evans has been a good punter in years past. He's not been this year, and he's been giving up field position with short punting. T-Bell is back for the Steelers at his 20. And Johnny Evans, that's a bad hop, and he's got a problem. Free ball, and the Steelers have it at the 33-yard line. Even if the Browns recovered, made no difference. It's a Steeler football on 4th down. So the big guys from Pittsburgh have got it together right now as Dirt Winston comes off the ground with the football. He's going to take it home.
It wouldn't matter how far he had been able to kick it if he could have caught it. This ball is on the center, no doubt. It's so important to make that short hop pick up because this is just like a turnover. Steelers have the ball on the 32-yard line. The second time early in the game they've had a good break.
And the Browns kick center, Jerry Sullivan, is one of the best in the league. Not on that play. So the Steelers get back the ball, and now they're ready to challenge again. They lead the game 7-0, 3:18 to play in the first quarter. 1st and 10, Steelers at the Browns 32.
Look at this.
Stoudt takes it himself. Down to the 30-yard line. Guys can get hurt doing that, but he's a big guy. Believe it or not, Terry Bradshaw is the smallest Steeler quarterback on the roster. Malone and Stoudt are both bigger than he is.
Well, you have to be pretty well disciplined as a linebacker. Clay Matthews that time stayed home. He's a third-year player. If you're going to catch one, you usually catch somebody trying to make a play above and beyond the call. If there was ever a condition that would you would expect to see him moving to pursue, it was that when he stayed home and made a fine play.
Stoudt came into the game completing 11 of 19 throws, 58%. He's looked real sharp today. 2nd and 7, he throws. He's a little short of Greg Hawthorne coming out of the backfield. Brown's got a rush going that time. Alzado was coming, and so was Matthews and the right outside linebacker.
That time they fooled the Pittsburgh offense. They blitzed Matthews, forcing Stoudt to throw the ball a little earlier than he wanted to. As a result, it's 3rd down and 7. They got into this position because of a bad punt.
So now, big play for the Steelers. Calvin Sweeney, rookie wide receiver from Southern California, goes wide left. Jim Smith heads wide right. In the slot is T-Bell, and here's Stoudt on 3rd down and 7. Blitz, fires, hits. Blyer can't hold on. Clay Matthews got there, but Blyer couldn't hold the hard-thrown ball. 2:30 left to play in the first quarter. Stoudt and the offense come up short on 3rd down. We'll see if they send out Barr for a long field goal attempt.
Don, Clay Matthews has been one of those real top draft choices. He's only in his 3rd year, but they've expected him to play the way he did on this drive. He hasn't played as well in the past couple years as they hoped he would. They think he's a great talent. If anybody exhibited the kind of talent that they expect of him, he did it on this series of plays. He stopped Stoudt on a quarterback sneak. He forced a play that was erring, and then he made a fine play on Blyer.
Matthews is one of the top players drafted 3 years ago behind,
how about this?
Earl Campbell and some others. At 4th down, they're taking a look at the pass. Stoudt stands in. He loops it in the sideline, and diving at the ball for a reception is Jim Smith. There's also a penalty marker down, but Smith caught it anyway. So the Steelers, with the young quarterback Cliff Stoudt, on 4th down going to the air, connect on a 15-yard completion. And the Steelers drive on. It was too long with these gusting winds. It was elected by the coaching staff to try the field goal, but they go to the throw.
Interference, number 28. First down.
They got him coming from pillar to post. You take a look, 4th down and 7. I think it's the best call they can make, particularly if you have a good play. Stoudt gets plenty of protection. You can see McGriff up there just manhandling his man. Jim Smith seems to put himself in position to allow the quarterback to throw it where it's easiest to complete and come up with a completion.
Henley was there if he dropped it, but he caught it. It's pass yardage, and it's a 1st down, a 15-yard gain. Now they go to the run from inside the 15-yard line. On 1st and 10 from the 14. The drive ahead's good for about 3 yards. Let's get an update on the rest of the National Football League's action as we switch to New York and Bryant Gumbel. Bryant?
Okay, thank you, Don Cricky. At the Meadowlands, Craig Morton engineering a drive for the Broncos here, going up top, completes to Rick Upchurch. He says goodbye to Mike Dennis before he gets blindsided, but the Broncos are on the move, trailing 3-0. Let's go back to Cleveland. Don.
All right, Bryant, there's a chill in the air here at Cleveland, Ohio, and the stands are packed. This game has been sold out for months, over 81,000. Biggest crowd of the National Football League season. Don Cricky with John Brody, the world champions, the Steelers, looking good in the first quarter. They drive now down to the 10-yard line on a second down and 8 play. The straight-ahead run is stopped by Robert Jackson and Marshall Harris. Stoudt seems to be having fun.
I tell you, you can tell. You ever see you see a quarterback starting to snarl or pout, you know the guy isn't ready for the game. You find when it's doing a little laughing, having a little fun, and he's going to be around for quite a while.
Third down and 6.
Big rangy quarterback, went to Youngstown State. He broke the passing record set there by the present Eagle quarterback, Ron Jaworski. Stoudt 6'4", 218. He gets the call to start today, and he likes it. Third down and 7 now for the Steelers. Stoudt looks into the end zone. Swings it out. Oh, man. Clay Matthews had an open track. Has he been able to intercept that ball?
Well, that's the sort of play that could have turned the whole ball game around. Stoudt had no one open downfield. He's going to come out to Blyer. Clay Matthews is on the ball the whole way. Actually, he overplays it a little. He gets a little too anxious, he could have waited back just a bit, picked it off on the dead run. Okay, why did Stoudt have to come over to Blyer? We see Bolton trying to hit. There's not really anywhere to throw it.
Colquitt will hold at the 18-yard line. A 28-yard field goal attempt. It's plenty long.
And just
on the numbers. So the Steelers on a fourth down gamble get the ball close enough. And Bauer gets the points up, and Pittsburgh, with 48 seconds to play in the first quarter, has taken a 10-0 lead over Cleveland.
Dialects has national sports news. It's new, it's rational, just to call National Sports for all the latest reports. We're talking national sports news. We've got it all. 900, what a wonderful call. 900-976-1313. 900-976-1313. Dialects, we're talking to you.
Does the pump loom large in your life?
The K cars are here.
Front-wheel drive Plymouth Reliant K, the American way to beat the pump. America's highest mileage 6-passenger car. If Reliant had rear-wheel drive, the engine, transmission, and drive shaft would crowd into people space. But with Reliant's front-wheel drive, the whole drivetrain's up front for the best 6-passenger mileage in America. Reliant K from Plymouth, the American way to beat the pump.
Hi, I'm Bob Hope. Everybody talks about the energy crisis, but what about the comedy crisis?
Vote for a joke. Bob Hope for president, Saturday on NBC.
Back at Cleveland Stadium, it's Don Cricky with John Brody. The Pittsburgh Steelers have taken a 10-0 lead. These champions don't look like they're on the ropes, John.
Well, I think in the first quarter, the story of the ball game is Cliff Stoudt. He's taking this club as if he was Terry Bradshaw. Chuck Noll knows what he has, but it's the first time any of us at home get an opportunity to see him.
Barr kicks off now for the Steelers. Here's Keith Wright. This kid can go across the 20 and the 25 and the 30, and Wright's not done till he gets to the 36-yard line. So the Browns with their third possession now, again with good field position. Keith Wright, who came off a major knee operation. Great to see him back. He's been a great one for the Browns. Young, fleet wide receiver from Memphis State, who's one of the very best at returning punts and kickoffs. Now Sipe and the Browns looking to get untracked on offense. Well, Logan's a guy he'll be looking at pretty soon. You recall early, Logan almost had 6. Pittsburgh had the ball for 10 minutes and 27 seconds of the first quarter. The Browns only 3:35. We have 38 seconds to play in the quarter. First and 10, Cleveland. Starting to put it up. He's got time. There's a man open, Reggie Rucker. Turns back upfield, loses some yardage, but he's got plenty. He got 13 yards and a first down for Cleveland out to the 49-yard line.
Well, that's the personality of the Cleveland Browns. First and 10, play action pass. The only time they've ever run the ball for large periods of time is when they're moving people off the line of scrimmage, which they are not doing at this time today. They love to be able to throw the ball on 1st and 10, play action. The receivers run very disciplined routes, and they're effective that way.
Here's Sipe throwing to Pruitt. He eludes one tackler. Got away from Jack Hammond. He gets ahead for a first down. Greg Pruitt, what a great back he was at Oklahoma and with the Cleveland Browns. Went down with knee surgery last year, but you see he's got it all back.
I'll tell you, there's a problem, Donnie.
Got a Brown limping off the field. 12-yard gain on the play, though. It's a first down for Cleveland when we come back.
RCA wants you to see the right color. Does your television automatically capture all these subtle shades of red on this fiery desert of color? ColorTrack 1981 can. With RCA's exclusive detail processor, ColorTrack separates detail from color, refines it, then locks the right color on track. Even colors only subtle shades apart. ColorTrack 1981. RCA is making television better and better.
Hi, honey.
Hey, where are the kids?
Spending the night at Mother's.
We're alone?
Open up and taste the moment. This time, the best is just what you deserve.
It's time for Erlanger. One look, one sip, one taste will tell you this beer is a classic.
When you want to fill your life up to the very brim.
Here's to my mother-in-law.
Come and taste the moment, Erlanger.
When you've got to rely on your vehicles, rely on AC Delco. Hot-firing AC fire ring spark plugs, AC filters, Delco shocks, cold-cranking Delco Freedom 2 batteries, and more. AC Delco's a whole line of hard-working replacement parts.
AC Delco, working hard for you.
For over 50 years, hard-working people have relied on AC Delco parts for just about anything that moves.
AC Delco, working hard for you.
See your participating AC Delco outlet for his special Key Play offer.
Knoll battles Cleveland. This is a homecoming for Chuck Knoll. He's from Cleveland, Ohio. Played high school football here, then went on to Dayton before a playing career with the Cleveland Browns. So he knows this stadium and the great heritage of this game so well. A rivalry that dates back to 1950. The Browns and the Steelers meeting for the 61st time. Cleveland now good position. 1st and 10 at the 39-yard line of the Steelers. The world champions lead at 10-0. Opening play of the second quarter. And ahead with the ball down to the 35-yard line is Mike Priutt. Delamalure, the all-pro guard who left Buffalo, came to Cleveland, and the left guard Henry Shepard, 65, led the blocking.
Well, I'll tell you, Donnie, they're really put up against it right now. This is Doug Deacon. He's an excellent player. Cody Risen is trying to get out there. He's been a high draft choice from Texas A&M. He's finally making his mark.
Henry Shepard banged up. Robert E. Jackson coming in with Delamalure. We don't know if Henry Shepard will be back in. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Cleveland Browns and the National Football League is prohibited. There's a problem with the clock right now. They're checking that out. It shows 14:32 to play in the first half. The numbers for the first quarter. Steelers with the dominance there, and certainly on the scoreboard where they lead 10-0. Excuse me, John. I say Delamalure has moved to left guard now, and they've got Robert E. Jackson playing right guard in the absence of Henry Shepard. It's 2nd down and 6 now for Cleveland, 35-yard line of Pittsburgh. Sipe throws. He's got a man open. This is Charles White, and he's got a first down to the 25-yard line.
You know, talking to Sam Vitigliano, I asked him about Charles White. What's his future with this club? He said, I've never seen a back that so emulated Larry Brown, the great running back for the Washington Redskins. He was a sort of fellow that started slow. His first year, he gained about 600-700 yards. He's tough. He's durable. He's quick. He can catch passes. And he just keeps coming at you. Now, Charles White's going to be with the Browns for quite a while.
He's really durable. Ran the ball over 1,100 times without an injury at USC. Gained over 6,200 yards. Second all-time, only Dorsett has more. Pittsburgh. Here's a swing pass. They get it away to Ozzie Newsome. Sipe was caught, and yet he got away. And Newsome got back to the line of scrimmage and ahead for maybe a yard or two more. Sipe would have been lost about 11.
Now, those are the kind of plays that distinguish the good quarterbacks from the really outstanding ones and the great ones. It's the Brand Sipe. His arm isn't so strong. His receivers don't have great speed. but he very rarely ever makes a mental mistake. He knows where Ozzie Newsome is. If he gets in trouble, he's coming to him late. He did so. He maintained his composure, got the ball out to him. As a result, they picked up 2 instead of losing 8.
Second down and 8 now for Cleveland. 12:52 to play in the first half. It's cold in Cleveland. The lights are on. The wind is blowing. Just like they like it in this brass knuckle division. And here is Sipe firing it out. He gets the ball to Priutt, and Pruitt's down inside the 20, down close to the 18. Be short of a first down on a second and 8. Bring up third and about 3. Let's get another update on this NFL 88th weekend to play as we go back to Bryant Gumbel in New York.
Thank you, Don Crickey. At the Meadowlands over in Jersey, the Giants are taking on the Broncos and trying to snap a 6-game losing streak. Phil Simms rolling out of the pocket here and hitting Danny Pittman for a very good game. But typical of the Giants season, the play called back by a penalty. They're out in front 3-0. Back to you, Don.
It's now third down and 3 for the Cleveland Browns inside the 20-yard line of Pittsburgh. Steelers lead the game 10-0. More people leaving early.
I think this one may be called on Sipe for leaving. That's the problem. He left the center
without the ball.
Well, sometimes we assume that the quarterback is always going to remember the count, and he doesn't. I know once in a while when I'd forget the count, you have so many things to think about. I'd call an audible, which made it an automatic snap count. He might have thought of that on this time.
Have you seen any audibles called here today, John?
Well, you can't tell from up here whether they're audibles or they're not audibles. I know they won the ball game last week because Logan and Sipe,
quarterback on the offense.
Logan and Sipe made an audible at the line of scrimmage last week in which they did it with hand signals when they were up on the ball without using any sort of verbal communication. It won them the ball game. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about communication between receiver and quarterback and great quarterbacks.
Sipe saw the Green Bay linebacker set to come on a blitz. He looked over at Logan, gave him a sign, and Logan ran a fly, went one-on-one with the safety, and he won it for a touchdown in the game. Now on third down and 7, Sipe stands in. This is the most time he's had all year, and he gets the ball out and completes it to Dave Logan. Cutting back, Logan goes down to the 15-yard line. He had a first down and might have lost it coming back.
Uh-oh.
Close enough to measure. That was a third down play.
You know that Logan knows where the first down line is, but there is a further problem for Pittsburgh. Looks to me as if Joe Green got injured on the play. Now, they had to make up this pattern. Logan goes down the field. He knows he's got to help Sipe out somehow. He does by coming back to the ball, giving him a target. Still picks up the first down.
Dave Logan, they call him a Gary Collins with speed. Collins, one of the great players in Cleveland Brown history.
Hey, let's not make light of this. Joe Green just got hurt trying to catch Sipe.
I think it's Banaszak.
Is it Banaszak? I can't tell a 5 from a 6.
They're both good players.
You bet.
Steelers can't afford to see anybody else go out. Big Joe's still in there.
It was Banaszak.
Green plays an interesting tackle position. He'll play over the center, DeLeon, and they openly profess not to be fond of each other. Then that linebacker, look at Dirt Winston, like Lambert does, gets in behind Green so the center can't block him.
I haven't seen anybody hugging one another.
Handoff goes to Pruitt. He breaks it inside the 10 and down to the 7-yard line on a first down carry. Mike Priutt from Purdue hammers the ball down to the 7-yard line, a gain of 8.
They had a very nice play, a little draw play. They've been throwing the ball on first down, throwing it effectively. Perfect time for a draw call. They know Pittsburgh's going man-to-man down there inside the 20-yard line. They were able to pick off Winston, keep him out of the play, and Pruitt picks up about 8.
Browns had a tough start, lost their first 2 and 3 of their first 5, and all of a sudden, as Sipe says, here we are on top of the division. Tied with Houston and Pittsburgh. Second down and 1 now for Cleveland. Back to the big back, and Priutt hits ahead for a first down and almost a touchdown. The last wave of Steelers threw him down at the 2-yard line. Almost broke that crust and would have taken it in. So the Browns now will go first and 10 from the 3-yard line of Pittsburgh, with the Steelers leading the game 10-0 and the clock running with 10:20 to play in the first half.
Don, this is where your guns really help you. The Jack Lamberts, it's not so much what he does individually, it's what he creates in the rest of the group when people get inside the 5-yard line. We talk about the 2 people that Pittsburgh can least afford to lose, Bradshaw and Lambert. They're put up against it right now.
They're both out. Lambert isn't even here. Bradshaw's in uniform. Here is Priutt going wide, and a great play by one of the outside. That was the Wagner. Mike Wagner coming up from the free safety to make the tackle. But Ron Johnson, one of the corners, took down an outside blocker, and then Wagner comes up from the free safety, makes the play. So the Steelers come up with a big play on a 1st and goal from the 3. The throwback is for a 2-yard loss at the 5.
Well, there are a lot of things that you can do to Mike Wagner. One of them is not beat him mentally. He will be in your backfield if his assignment is to be there. He will make the play when the back comes his way. Big one for Mike that time.
Logan goes wide left. He's a jumper. He's up against the guy and get up there. Also Mel Blunt. Wide right is Reggie Rucker. Newsome, the tight end, is sent to the right side. He's running a pattern up the middle. Sipe throws into the end zone. Touchdown, Cleveland. Calvin Hill.
I'll tell you, he's savoring this little devil.
Another Yaley makes good.
This ball had to be thrown at the right time. There are only a few backs in this game who can make the right route. He had to do it. He had to make his break off Robin Cole and not get too far out so the cornerback could make the play. Sipe, right as he made the breakthrough and right in between the two people, touchdown for Cleveland.
So now the veteran Don Cockcroft is on the field. Holding will be rookie Paul McDonald, and the extra point is up and good. And the Cleveland Browns are right back in it with 9:10 left to play in the first half. The Browns go 62 yards in 11 plays the last 5. Brian Sipe to Calvin Hill. It's 10-7 Pittsburgh.
If you're shopping for a new car, it's smart to talk to an Allstate agent before you buy.
Before I buy? Why?
Some cars get a break on insurance at Allstate.
Oh, we'll be right back.
Let's face it, all cars aren't built the same. At Allstate, some cost less to insure.
Buy one of these, and we'll pass the savings on to you. Up to 35% less than comprehensive.
35%?
We'll be right back.
Different rates for different cars. You're in good hands with Allstate.
That's a promise for me, Judy Davis.
At 35 degrees below zero, this is what you can do with a banana. This is what happens to a freshly cut rose. And this is premium motor oil. At 35 degrees below zero, this is what you can do with Mobil 1 motor oil. Mobil 1, the oil that saves you gas, helps get you going even at 35 below.
On NBC Sports World, America's best young pros fight it out to see who will be tomorrow's champions. Plus, continuing coverage of the Legends of Bowling next Saturday.
With John Brody, this is Don Criqui back at Cleveland Stadium on a cold October day. The Browns have just taken it 62 yards, have taken it into the end zone on a pass from Brian Sipe. The Calvin Hill, a guy they say would be a great asset to any team if he never played it down. He provides so much leadership. And now, as we take a look at the split screen of Don Cockcroft, upper left, ready to kick it off. Frank Pollard ready to return it. Our producer today for NBC is Larry Cirillo, our director, John Gonzalez. As we have 9:10 left to play in the first half. The Steelers moved out to a 10-0 lead, and now the Browns have rallied back. A lot of points have gone on the board the recent years when these two teams have played. Cleveland scored 65 points against the Steelers last year in 2 games. Lost in both. Sam Ratigliano says usually 24 will win for you, not against these guys. Short kickoff again by Barr, and the wind is a factor. He's kicking into one. Coming off that late, and his return is up across the 30-yard line. Action 3 helicopter, WKYC television in Cleveland. And our thanks to them. Got to really be brisk up there.
Yep. You know, Don, people say, geez, what are you doing in Pittsburgh to fool people offensively? Why are they so fine? If there was ever a vanilla offense, it's got to be Pittsburgh. They don't do anything fancy. They just execute well. It doesn't seem to matter who's playing.
They've executed well today, and Stoudt at quarterback's been effective. Now the turf is starting to give way under the rain and the big feet. A couple of clouds kick up, couple of guys go down. A little chapped up in that midfield section.
And you really get the feeling that when you're playing on natural surface as opposed to synthetic surface, do you remember when the center threw the ball back? I got to feel like he got the ball caught a little bit in that slop down there. Didn't get a good clean snap back to the punter. As a result, it was a big turnover. 3 points for Pittsburgh.
That's a good point because Sullivan, as we pointed out, is one of the best kick snappers in the league. Now it's 2nd down and 8 for Pittsburgh. Ball at the 37-yard line of the Steelers. Right up the gut again, not much there. Lyle Alzado, 77 on the play. Dick Ambrose was in on the play also.
If they don't get offensive linemen on Robert Jackson, they're not going to make too many yards. They haven't been able to seal him off in this drive. He gets into the hole, causes a stumble by the offensive back. As a result, it's 3rd and 5. He's their key.
He's a flyer. He makes those flying tackles. He will dive at the ball carrier. Now Thornton and Blyer are the setbacks for the Steelers. 3rd down and 5 coming up for Pittsburgh, just short of their 40-yard line. 7:48 to play in the first half when the clock running. Stoudt has a man open, and Smith can't get to the ball. Denver and the Giants are going at it at Giant Stadium. For more on that, let's go back to New York and Brian Gumbel.
Thank you, Don Crickey. At the Meadowlands, the Broncos are threatening the score. Here's how they got close. Jim Jensen off the left side takes it 33 yards. Suddenly, the Broncos are inside the 5 and threatening to make a change in that 3-0 score. Giants are now out in front. Back to you, Don.
Thank you, Brian. And now, the first punt of the Steeler offensive day is coming up.
And here's Mike Webster, who's renowned as one of the best punt centers in the game, in about the same spot that Sullivan was. He gets it back cleanly.
Colquitt didn't do much with it, though. It does get downfield and then takes a Steeler hop and rolls out of bounds inside the 30. They're going to spark it right at the 31.
When you're kicking from that slop, Don, it plays with your mind.
So with 7:35 left to play in the first half, we'll be back at Cleveland Stadium in a moment.
Has the pump got you in a bind?
The K cars are here!
Plymouth Reliant K. Highest mileage 6-passenger cars. The American way to beat the pump. 4-door, 2-door, or wagon. And with all the weight of Reliant's engine and drivetrain up front. You get the great traction of front-wheel drive. Reliant K from Plymouth. The American way to beat the pump.
Tough work demands a tough leather boot. Count on the Texas Steer brand from Kmart. Quality smooth grain leather uppers, soft padded collar and ankle knots for added flex and comfort. Inside, you've got full insulation, Goodyear welt construction, steel shank, and durable oil-resistant soles. And that Kmart sale price of $25 through Saturday is hard to beat. Texas Steer. A little bit of loot buys a lot of boot at Kmart.
2 Nights of Terror, Omen 1 and 2, the whole story, starring Gregory Peck, Lee Remick, William Holden, and Lee Grant. The Omen, Wednesday and Thursday.
Franco Harris, not ready to play. Strained knee ligaments. Needs 63 yards to become the 3rd all-time rusher in the NFL's history, behind Jim Brown and O.J. Simpson.
Every week, great performance.
Ryan Sipe, 9 of 12 for 75 yards, has a problem. He eludes it. Now he has a bigger one, and the Steelers get the sack at the 30. Sipe gets back to the line of scrimmage. So the Pittsburgh Steelers get to Brian Sipe for the first time today, and that's only the 6th time all season that anybody's gotten to Brian Sipe. Browns with the low total in the league of quarterback sacks, so their own. More scores heading on in. New England holding to a 3-0 lead on the 41-yard field goal by John Smith over Buffalo. The Giants leading the Denver Broncos 3-0 in the second quarter.
Donnie, things aren't going the way it was predicted up in Denver. We see L.A. is behind Atlanta. That was not too predictable either.
.7:05 to play now, first half. Sipe and the Browns with 2nd down and 10, just across their 30. It's a 10-7 game, Steelers in the lead. Up the middle, Logan, the great athlete, zooms in on the ball and again screens off the defense. This is a basketball player of NBA quality.
Oh, and he looks like he's hurting.
A first down play, but Logan is limping, and we'll come back for a report on that. But first, to New York for an update on the Giants and the Broncos. Here's Bryant Gumbel.
Thank you, Don Crickey. We'll get to the Giants-Broncos in a second. First, this one from Rich Stadium. Joe Ferguson back to throw, finding Frank Lewis in the end zone. Touchdown, point after good. Bills are out in front of New England 7-3. Now moving on to the Meadowlands, the Broncos getting their first score of the game. This is Jim Jensen going over the left side from 1 yard out. 7-3, Denver in front. Let's go back to Cleveland, Don Crickey.
And we go to the run, a quick run up the middle on a 1st and 10 play after the big gainer. And it's down inside the 50, down to the 49. John?
And I'll tell you, Cleveland is not winning at the line of scrimmage offensively. They're picking up 2, 1, 3 yards when they do run the ball on 1st down. They've been able to throw effectively. But you'd assume if you can throw effectively on first down after 4 or 5 completions, you'd be able to move the ball 4 or 5 yards. They haven't been able to do so. Makes it that much more difficult for Sipe.
Dave Logan, after that 18-yard reception for a first down, went out, shaken up a little. He's right back in now. He's on the left flank. Rucker's on the right flank. It's second down and 8 now for Cleveland. Steelers in the lead, 10-7. Sipe drops to throw, and the play is whistled dead.
Offense. Somewhere on the right side of that offensive line. Looked like Joe D.
Bob Frederick, the referee.
Joe DeLamalure, number 64, jumps just a little bit before the snap of the ball. Any movement at all draws a lot of attention in that offensive line before the snap.
False start, number 64, offense.
Second and 13. It's a very important drive for the Browns. They've got the ball in good field position.
Steeler linebackers come up tight. Look at that tight safety, 31. Lower right-hand portion of your screen just inside the linebacker. He comes up to play Newsom head-to-head. He'll run all over the field with him, Donnie Shell. Second down and a long 12. Sipe stands in. Look at this time. The Cleveland blocker's just superior.
I can't believe this.
Now he unloads it. It's up for grabs. Ham's going for it, and the ball is tipped away from Mike Pruitt. He had 8 seconds.
Don, that might have been as good a pass protection as I've ever seen, but more importantly, such great defensive secondary coverage. You don't find 4 fellas trying to get to the passer. Look at Sipe. Well, I think I'll go over here. Maybe I'll go over there. When he finally comes back to Pruitt, Pruitt's covered by a linebacker. Of course, it's Jack Ham, but anytime a back gets on a linebacker, he should beat him if he gets a minute and a half to go.
Right now, we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is WKYC TV3, television home of the Browns.
Don Criqui with John Brody, Cleveland Stadium. Temperature with the chill factor probably in the 20s. Gusting winds, light rain. A cold day as the Steelers and the Browns hooking up. And now, Cleveland trailing 10-7. Has Brian Sipe throwing on third down. He gets a little behind Greg Pruitt. But the Browns will have to punt it back. Robin Cole picked up the running back coming out of the backfield. Sipe and the Browns come up short on this drive, and the ball goes back to the Steelers on a punt. Actually, it was a little bit of snow on the ground here this morning.
Might be anything back here before the game's over.
Getting rough, old Broad. You got that California blood. Didn't know you owned a coat.
I've lost a lot of them.
4th down and 13. Johnny Evans hits a line drive, and he put a charge into it. Man, got a little wind on that baby, and it goes into the end zone. So it'll come out on a touchback to the 20. That was a 54-yard punt by Johnny Evans, his first punt of the game. Sam Ratigliano and his Browns trailing by 3.
You don't have to be a genius to change your own oil and filter and save yourself up to $10. Valvoline Motor Oil shows you exactly how quick and easy it is with step-by-step change instructions on the back of Valvoline cans. It's really quite simple. Once you get the hang of it, just see for yourself, then do for yourself. No wonder more and more drivers are changing their own oil and filters and changing to Valvoline. It's a smart way to save up to 10 bananas without a lot of monkeying around. Right, Val?
The Cascade River and Milwaukee, Wisconsin are 2,000 miles apart, but both places mean one thing to these guys, something great. The Cascade means salmon, and Milwaukee means beer. Cold, crisp, old Milwaukee beer. And man, were they ever made for each other.
Whenever you think of the town of Milwaukee,
You think of beer.
and old Milwaukee tastes as great as its name.
Yeah, you know, it doesn't get any better than this.
This is Brian Gumble in New York. At the Meadowlands, the Giants are trying to snap a 6-game losing streak against the Broncos. They're trailing 7-3. Phil Simms has the Giants on the march. Here, rolling out of the pocket and scrambling upfield. Good for 11 yards before being run out by Randy Gratishar. And then he lives right on this aerial. Completes a pass to Danny Pittman, but only after it goes off someone else's fingers. Back to Cleveland, Don Criqui.
Thank you, Brian. So Jim Jensen on the run puts the Denver Broncos in front, and here at Cleveland, it's 10-7. The Steelers are leading. Cliff Stoudt, starting for the injured Terry Bradshaw, has been very effective. They've missed nothing at quarterback today, despite the absence of the great Bradshaw. Stout's been superb. Here's another completion. Downfield, sliding back at the ball. T-Bell takes it on his way down for a 15-yard gain.
I'll tell you, it's a little windy right down there on the playing surface now, Don. The wind is very swirly. 1st and 10, play action pass. Stout's done about all you can ask. Those statistics are not really indicative of the way he's handled his ball club offensively.
Made the big throws. The one we remember most vividly, of course, was the 4th and 8 play. They were out of range for a field goal and didn't want to punt. He threw a 12-yard strike for a first down and subsequently was converted into a field goal. That's been the margin of difference in the scoreboard right now. 10-7 game. Here's Rocky Blyer, who busted one for 70 yards a year ago here at Cleveland Stadium against the Browns.
We know how good the offensive line for the Pittsburgh Steelers is. And John Kolb has been a mainstay in that group for years. He's been hurting. He's had an ankle problem. Now his wife went in the hospital. She's expecting a baby. She just went in last night. You know his mind. It takes an awful lot of ability to put all your attention on a football game when your wife's in the hospital about to deliver a baby.
Wish the Kolbs all the best. Big John, a guy who's, they say, is the best offensive tackle in Pittsburgh Steeler history. He's never been to the Pro Bowl. And it's toughening up in that Browns defensive front. This time Sidney Thornton ran head into it. It's about as much fun as running into the goalpost.
And I'll tell you, they stuffed it up in the middle. And that's where Mike Webster, you remember, on the first drive had so much success. Clay Matthews, Lyle Alzado, all of them sliding down to the left. We see John Kolb can get no piece of Alzado because they're playing a little game in there.
The Pittsburgh Steelers have beaten the Browns the last 7 times they've played, 11 of the last 12. 3rd down and 5 now for Pittsburgh from the Steeler 40. Stoudt stands in. He's got Blyer on the flank. Rocky Blyer puts his head down and crashes out to the 45.
They may have stopped him short of the first down, but it was only the sideline that did it.
The 12th man got him.
I'm not sure they did stop him short.
They didn't.
No.
Rocky Blyer,
play.
a money player. Now Randy Grossman comes back in with the good news for Cliff Stoudt. 4 new downs.
Don, it's those little things that distinguish between being good and great. Rocky Blyer, his stats probably wouldn't indicate that he's a great National Football League running back, but you put him in a 3rd and 5 situation. That was a 2-yard gain. He made it a 5-yard gain and a first down. It's as important as a turnover.
And he brings an extra dimension to a football team because of his leadership. Blyer's a money player. Here's a strike up the middle. It comes in short. Clarence Scott was covering. Sidney Thornton coming out of the backfield, and Stoudt triggered the ball a little high for his first man and low for the second.
Don, when you see those low-numbered players back there in the quarterback's face, you know the quarterback's been doing something to create a problem for them. Clarence Scott this time is on a safety blitz. Stout's a play-action pass on first down. He was effective on in the last first down situation. This time Clarence Scott took the play away from him. Now
Blyer and Hawthorne are the setbacks for the Steelers. Bertigliano looking on as his Browns defense has been on the field much of this game. Pittsburgh's offense has been out there most of the time. Here is a pass and a completion to Jim Smith. First down throw. Ron Bolton was covering, and Jim Smith, who the coach at Navy said was the best college receiver he's ever seen. George Welsh made that statement about Jim Smith when Navy played Michigan.
They run one off and run another one on. It just looks like they've got a little carbon copy down there in Steeler land. Receivers about 6'2", 200 pounds.
They're all great athletes, too.
They come up with that ball.
Like many of the great athletes at Michigan, Schenbeckler uses them as wingbacks so they can run the ball and catch the ball. That's what they had Jim Smith playing his last 2 years. It's now 1st and 10 after an 11-yard gain. To the run they go, and there's nothing there but a lot of Cleveland Browns.
Don, they have not been running the ball to the left much, and they're for good reason. Clay Matthews made a super play. He's playing that strong side linebacker. He's got Grossman, stands him up, and actually causes the play to go nowhere. He grabs Sidney Thornton, brings it down for a 2-yard loss.
So it'll be 2nd down and 12 coming up with 2 minutes left to play in the first half, and the Pittsburgh Steelers holding to a 10-7 lead.
I used to run through airports. Now I fly through them. With new Hertz No
#1 Express service, I fly non-stop from my plane to my car without stopping at the counter. If you ask for #1 Express when you make your reservation, your Ford or other fine car and contract will be waiting at the #1 Express booth. Once again, Hertz puts you in the driver's seat faster than anybody else.
Allstate challenges you. Find your homeowner's insurance policy, then bring it in and compare.
I personally accept Allstate's challenge.
Because all homeowners insurance is not alike. Allstate could show you ways to get more for your money.
Allstate's thrown us a challenge. Keep looking.
Allstate homeowners insurance could give you more value for the money. So find your policy and bring it in.
I found it.
You found it? You're in good hands with Allstate. That's a promise.
This is Priutt Gumble in New York. Out at the Meadowlands, the Giants have moved within a point of the Denver Broncos. Joe Danello making good from 28 yards. It's 7-6 in the second. Back to Cleveland and Don Frick.
Brody and whoever.
They ran out of paper for you, kid.
Second down and 12.
81,000 looking on at Cleveland Stadium. The world champions, the Steelers, with a 10-7 lead, 2 minutes to play in the first half. And, of course, at halftime, we'll be going to NFL 80 in New York. Brian Gumbel standing by with all the scores and the highlights. Right now, Stoudt stands in on second down and 12, and he can't get it there. Rocky Bleier coming out of the backfield, and Stoudt was hit as he released the ball. Robert L. Jackson was coming.
Yeah, but Stoudt hung in there so well. If Bleier had made a catch, it would have been a fine play on Bleier's part because there was only about four yards in between receiver and quarterback. As we noticed, New Orleans is getting it taken to him again by the Redskins, 9-0 in the second quarter. But, I mean, Stoudt hung in there and did everything he could, waited as long as he could, and they almost made a big play out of it.
Calvin Sweeney comes wide to the left. Third down and 12 for the Steelers. Three-man rush by the Browns. They got every back in zone coverage. Here comes Stoudt. Turns the corner. He's not going to get the first down, or is he? This big guy thunders on down close to the 35.
He may have.
I think he got it.
If he didn't, it's no more than the length of the football, and I think he's put him in good enough position to go for it on 4th and 1.
They'll get him a new shirt at halftime.
They got plenty of those shirts. They don't have too many quarterbacks. That's the problem.
Well, as Chuck Noll said this week, John, everybody's talking about the Steeler injuries. Said, don't forget one thing. We got more healthy guys than we got hurt guys, and we're still the champions.
You bet. I think it just shows you how great those fellas are.
A 12-yard gain as Stoudt took off. As you were pointing out earlier, he's actually a better straight-ahead runner than Bradshaw. He's faster, but he does not have the mobility of Terry Bradshaw, the agility to elude people on the pass rush. 4th down and less than a yard.
He had a little agility that time.
A 12-yard gain was just short of a first down, so now it's 4th down for the Steelers. 1:46 to play in the first half. In motion goes Hawthorne, calling his own number. Well, here's a penalty marker down. Stoudt called his own number, went right over the top of Webster for a first down and more. They got another great big run and dude that can play quarterback here at Pittsburgh. Mark Malone, the first-year player from Arizona State, their #1 draft choice. In fact, the first player drafted in the first round of the position in quarterback since Bradshaw came out in '70. They
don't have any little skinny kids playing quarterback in Pittsburgh.
Bob Fredericks might go in and out, but the call is against the Cleveland Browns, so Stoudt got there anyway, but they'll take the 5 yards rather than the 2 he gained diving with the ball.
Well, you know, if you're 6'4" and you weigh about 215 and you're going behind Mike Webster, the two of them just go forward for about 3 easy ones.
Offside, right in.
Ed Webster certainly wants to charge into the line. All those Steelers up front, they pump that iron. They all bench press over 500, the interior offensive blockers. 1st and 10 for the Steelers. 30-yard line at Cleveland. They go to Hawthorne. Look at the Browns make the play. Robert L. Jackson starting to look like the player they thought he was coming out of A&M. Texas A&M 3 years ago. Big play and a big stop and a loss on the play. And the clock is down to 1:32.
John, you get the feeling that neither offensive line is ruling the line of scrimmage. It's been big plays that have kept their drives alive on both sides of the field. That's why we've got a 10-7 ball game. And when we come back, Pittsburgh will have the ball on the 35.
You know, I love the fresh, clean smell of barley.
because I can almost taste the Schlitz beer I'm going to make from it. I'm Frank Selinger. Recently, I came to Schlitz as chief executive. Mostly, I check on the business end. But after 40 years as a master brewer, I check the barley, too, and the other fine grains to make a really smooth beer. Taste my Schlitz.
It's time for you. It's time for you.
It's time for Imperial, a new luxury car with everything standard from an interior by Mark Cross to electronic fuel injection.
I'm telling you that dreams come true.
It's time for Imperial, with a basic limited warranty twice as long as any other American luxury car.
Come on, baby, it's time, time, time. It's time for you.
It's time for Imperial.
This is Priutt Gumble in New York at Rich Stadium in Buffalo. The Bills have scored again, same combination, Joe Ferguson to Frank Lewis. This one good for 13 yards. Bills are out in front of the Patriots, 14-3. Back to Cleveland, Don Crickey.
And 1:32 is on the clock here at Cleveland Stadium. First half, Steelers 10, Browns 7. Steelers put up the first 10 points of the game. And the Browns came back with a 62-yard drive and a Brian Sipe throw to Calvin Hill. Now it's second down and 15 for Pittsburgh. 35-yard line of Cleveland. Clip Stoudt. Under control. Stands in. Lets it go long. Uh-oh. It comes in a little short. And Jim Smith, who had the defense beaten by a step, gives the ball a boot out of the end zone.
Well, it looked as if he had the defense beaten by a step, Don, but it was really a misconception because they were double-teaming Smith. He never could get across the field where Stoudt wanted to be able to throw the ball. As a result, Stoudt threw it the only place he could without taking a loss.
Let's see what they do now. The Steelers have rushed for 59 yards in the game. The Browns have rushed for only 22. 1:26 left to play in the first half.
We've seen this five-back situation earlier in the ball game. Stoudt threw a perfect strike in there to Theo Bell. Let's see what happens on this trip. They're all on the line of scrimmage.
Stoudt throws. He's got a man open. Look at that reception by Kelvin Sweeney, a rookie from Southern California. And Kelvin Sweeney's down to the 6-yard line, and the clock is down to 1:14 and running. A 29-yard gain on the play.
Boy, that takes a lot of composure. Cleveland's trying to rattle Stoudt. They get all their people on the line of scrimmage. They come off into a zone. He goes back, gets good line protection. Everybody picks up the right man. It allows Sweeney to come in over the middle after running 17 yards deep. He hits him right on the money, puts him right into good field position on about the 7-yard line, and we'll be back.
It may be cool outside, but in here, it's hot. Little 4-cylinder engines work harder than big engines, but their oil filters are smaller. So look after your little car right. Change the oil and put in a new Fram filter when you're supposed to. After all, a little engine costs a lot. A Fram filter doesn't. But the choice is yours. You can pay me now, or pay me later.
Hey, see y'all down the road, Jack. If you're going to move your family, you can save a lot of money by renting a truck. Moving yourself, and you might as well rent a real truck. A Ryder. Ryder isn't famous for renting cars, beep, beep, little trailers. Ryder's famous for trucks. Pro drivers will tell you that.
Okay, King of the Road. Just hold the lamp.
Hey, see y'all down the road, Jack.
Ryder, the best truck money can rent.
22,000 people here wearing those hats. That many Steeler fans have made the 3-hour drive down the turnpike.
They didn't stick them on the 50-yard line, though.
Like they're all in the end zone. It's first down and goal for the Steelers. Stoudt stands in, fires, and it's incomplete. Almost an interference call on Darden. Art Modell, the president and owner of the Cleveland Browns, in the next box scene is general manager Pete Hod-Hazy. These guys are up and down. They are jumping guys. Up and down with every play. This is a big one for the Browns. They really want this one with the Steelers. They want everyone with Pittsburgh as the players and the Cleveland team say, you know, it's Steeler week. Things are a lot quieter at practice. And this stadium holding over 81,000 with the ghosts of some of the great ones. Motley, Lavelli, Ford, Grant, Jim Brown, Hand off to Thornton. Trap block up the middle. Springs Thornton for 3. He gets from the 7 down to about the 4.
Well, both teams have had tough sledding down inside that line since the first drive when Pittsburgh moved it down pretty well. Neither team has moved it on the ground. They both had to throw their way down the field. 3rd down and 5. You can bet it's going to be put up in the air.
Jim Smith goes wide right. T. Bell is wide right in the slot. And Calvin Sweeney, a free agent who is dangerous. Cut that 29-yarder to the left. Stout's looking at Sweeney. Better look at somebody. Sweeney goes up and loses the ball. Calvin Sweeney had a piece of the football and lost it coming down. Henry Bradley put the slug on Stoudt just as he released the ball. So the Browns stave off a touchdown, and now the field goal unit comes out for Pittsburgh.
It's just amazing to me how every Pittsburgh receiver, you see Stoudt throwing the ball off balance. You can only afford to do that if you are dead certain your receivers are going to come back for the ball and get it at its apex. All the Pittsburgh receivers do that. As a result, it makes it easy on the quarterback to put it up in a one-on-one situation.
Matt Barr, the kicker, has never missed a field goal in the pros inside the 30. It's a 22-yarder. Does not have the long range leg, but boy, he's tough in here. Drills it up. Record stays intact. He's 15 for 15 in his career inside the 30. And the Cleveland Browns now are down by 6. Pittsburgh extending its lead to 13-7 with only 26 seconds left to play in the first half. So the Steelers will be kicking it off when we come back.
Hi, I'm Dick Butkus. Just a few years ago, I was the middle linebacker for the Chicago Bears. I loved playing pro football, but my biggest thrill came with my election into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm very proud to be a part of this up-to-the-minute sports showplace, where the total pro football story is told in many exciting ways. The Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio is open every day of the year except Christmas. I hope you'll visit here soon.
I'm Sam Rutigliano, coach of the Cleveland Browns. I started my career as a high school coach. 1 million young people are playing high school football each year. It's a game of speed, contact, and excitement. These athletes receive guidance, conditioning, they learn to think, develop leadership, discipline, and teamwork. High school sports need your attendance. The NFL encourages you to see a high school game this week.
The preceding announcements were furnished by the National Football League. Browns did well to hold Pittsburgh to just a field goal, John.
Oh, it was a very big goal line situation stand for Cleveland. When you stand within 7, you can still get the game done. And Brian Sipe has come back with a whole lot less than 26 seconds to play toward the end of a half. So if this ball is not way down the field, if they get any kind of field position, you can bet he'll be having a go at it.
Wright takes it on the run of the 15 to the 30. And Keith Wright's to the 32, and the clock shows 22 seconds as Sipe and the Cleveland offense come back out. Frank Pollard was down to make the play. Brian Sipe has put the ball up 15 times in this game, has completed 10 for 94 yards, and the 1 touchdown. Of course, he was intercepted on the skip ball, skipped off the hands of a receiver, and Johnson intercepted for Cleveland, for Pittsburgh to stop the Cleveland drive. Stoudt has thrown 17 times. He's completed 7 for 95 yards.
All of them key, though.
Yep. So Brian Sipe, who's not big, but he does get the ball deep. Ready now to start pitching with 22 seconds left in the first half, and the snow flurries and the winds start up again. Standing in, lots of time. Now he eludes the rush and loses the ball. His arm was going forward. It's an incomplete pass.
You and I know that, but it's not always called that way. Boy, he is so cool back there.
John, when you're standing back there for a long time like that, you've got to be thinking blindside, though, don't you?
No, you put your attention on the receivers down the field. Of course, that's the utopia of the situation. He's got his attention down the field. You'd think you'd think L.C. Greenwood wasn't in the house. He'll wait and wait and wait. He's about as patient a quarterback as any I've seen.
One of our spotters today, Matt Millen, an offensive tackle for the Browns, says one of the great things about Sipe is no matter how much pressure's around, he doesn't get excited. Always maintains his cool.
Third down and 10 from the 32.
9 seconds left to go in the first half as the Cleveland Browns come back now to try it again. Third down coming up in 10. The ball at the 32-yard line.
Nine seconds is just about enough time, Donnie, to get it down into the 30-yard line, but it's got to be a flawless execution.
Go to the draw. Here's Pruitt. He can go coast to coast if he gets a couple of blocks, and Pruitt gets it out to the 39.
Case closed for this half.
That will do it. First 30 minutes are in. They've been a good 2 quarters, and we have a lot more to go, and also
Possession of ball is pretty indicative as to the score in the ball game. The Steelers have kept the ball away from the Browns, which was really rather unexpected at the game start because they've got a quarterback that hasn't played before, and they've kept the ball for 16 minutes and 41 seconds without controlling the line of scrimmage rush-wise. I say if Cleveland doesn't get the ball a little bit